Hello everybody, welcome to All Sports Weekly episode 4. My name is Trevor and with me I have Luke. How you doing?
G'day, good mate. Yeah, glad to be here.
Good. Glad to have you. Mate, for people watching, we're on YouTube obviously and we're also on SoundCloud. If you're watching the video, please like and subscribe. That'd be awesome. Share the link with anyone who might be interested and leave a comment down below, any questions or anything you want to talk about. We're also, you can email me on allsportsweekly@outlook.com and also we're on Twitter @allsportsweekly. So we've got a lot to cover today. Not sure if we're going to do it in enough time, so let's just get into it. First of all, Luke, what have you been watching this week, mate?
Mate, to be honest, I've been pretty busy at work, but
That
always
sounds like us, yeah.
keeping a bit of a close eye on all sports. And
What's taken your eye?
I'd say, look, with the cricket, the Big Bash is starting to come to an end, thankfully.
Yep.
It's been a long season.
It has.
Yeah.
Do you subscribe to the view it's too long?
Yes, definitely on that bandwagon. Yeah. I think they could have probably tied it up a few weeks ago, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had Aaron here the other episode 1. He was saying school holidays should be the parameter.
Yeah, and that makes sense. You know, you want the bang for the buck.
Yeah.
And they're just not really getting that at the moment, in my opinion. Yeah.
It is nice to come home and see the cricket on though.
It is. Yes.
I will say
that has been a blessing for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
We've been pretty spoiled there.
So you've been watching a bit of that?
I have been, and obviously still hurting from the most recent
Still feeling that one?
Test series.
Oh, I think that one might hurt for a little while. Yeah, I'm the same, mate. Bit of Big Bash, and NFL is the big one, which we'll get to.
Yes, some big news there.
There's a little bit going on there too.
Yeah, a bit of controversy. Yeah.
Yes. All right, so let's get into the cricket, the Big Bash, just to start. So it's the finals. Now, if you can follow the Big Bash finals format, you're smarter than me. Basically, there's eliminators and qualifiers, and there's a couple. It's even more complicated than Super Rugby finals, and that's saying something. But at the end of the day, 5 teams out of 8 have made the finals, and there's a slap and tickle at the end. I will be going to the Heat Strikers Friday night.
Nice.
Which is a knockout.
Yeah.
And I think it's tomorrow night. There's a Sixers and Scorchers, which is first and second. So how it works. First and second play, winners in the grand final.
Yeah, right.
They're there.
Yeah.
They've earned that, I guess. That I like that.
Yeah, that's reward for consistency throughout the season.
Heat and Strikers, 4th and 5th. Losers done.
Yep.
Third place sits over here and does nothing.
Yep.
Which is the Sydney Thunder, in case anyone's wondering. The winner of the Heat Strikers plays the Thunder.
Yep.
The winner of that plays the loser of that grand final game.
I'm lost.
I know, trail of breadcrumbs you need on this one. Anyway, look, honestly, we'll just roll with it. It's Big Bash. It's, whatever. It was better when it was a top 4.
Yeah.
But what happened was, in my view anyway, I think it was Melbourne Stars, pretty powerful team. They finished first, got beaten in one game, got knocked out. Everyone had a big sook about it.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, well, you can't finish first and lose one game. And
well, you got to look after the MCG members, don't you?
Mate, you got to do that. Tin hats on here, mate. But anyway, this is what we've got. Looking forward to it. From a Queensland point of view, the Heat could honestly beat anyone and lose to anyone. And that's 2020 as well.
Well, yeah, that's right, yeah.
So,
and to be fair, the Big Bash has been quite evenly spread across the board. I think every team's been...
Except for the Renegades.
Yes, they've been woeful, yeah. Aaron Finch, got to go.
Got to go.
Yeah, got to go.
Is he... Yeah,
as captain.
We'll chat about that as well. Because the breaking news... Well, I guess we'll go to that. The breaking news, I got on my thing, Matthew Wade sacked from the test team.
Yeah.
But when you really think about it, the cricket team is splitting into 2. You've got the T20 series against New Zealand, 5 games happening here, and simultaneously test series. So
that's correct. Yeah.
Cricket Australia has formed the view that Matty Wade's a better T20 player than a test player. And I don't think many people would argue with that.
No, yeah, look, I certainly share that opinion. Yeah, he's not got the tenacity for test cricket, in my opinion.
Because you could frame that as Matty Wade sacked, or Matty Wade just spearhead New Zealand defence Would you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. And when
so-
you look into it, he's been given the vice captaincy role, so there's a bit of a leadership role for him there. So,
But like we said last week, the Test team does need a bit of a renewal. Wade, 34, probably is going to be collateral damage for that home loss. Interestingly, Alex Carey, who would have been in the 2020 team, is going on the tour to South Africa.
yes.
Tim Payne is looking over his shoulder.
Is that a little tap on the shoulder? Yes.
He's going to need a bit of deep heat. He's looking over. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and look, I think the time has come.
I think the time's come. So they're sticking with Payne, with Carey lurking.
Yeah. And I wonder if that's almost a bit of a transition phase. Are they grooming Pat Cummins to then take over the captaincy for the Ashes?
Problem with bowlers being captain is they never know when to bowl themselves.
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah. And look,
but
love or hate the guy, Steve Smith, I reckon, great captain.
Yeah. I copped a bit of blowback from a couple of viewers though that they don't want Steve Smith back.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. I think he's burned his bridges with a lot of fans.
I'd have him back. I have forgiven.
Yeah,
I've forgiven all.
Look, it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard not to forgive when he's getting hundreds all the time.
Yeah, I don't think he was the smoking gun in that whole sandpaper thing, but that's a whole nother. Let's not go there.
Episode.
But just quickly, who's going to win the Big Bash? Who's going to win it?
Look, I reckon your money'd have to be on the Sixers. They've been probably the standout side in my opinion. But then again, it's such an even competition with the players changing teams every few seasons.
Yeah,
I think it's really anyone's in it to win it.
I like the Scorchers. I think they got a lot of good pedigree.
Yep.
I just think I was surprised the Heat beat them the other day.
Yeah.
I think they're a really good team if they get home games as well.
Yeah.
The Heat are the smoky, they really are.
And that's the thing, young Maxi Bryant, if he gets going, they'll score 200.
Yeah.
Easy.
And Lynn, who's much maligned by a few people, has actually been playing pretty well.
Yes, and when he's on, he's on.
Yeah.
We all know that.
Yeah, so he's going all right. And quickly before we finish on the cricket story, England are playing Sri Lanka, and Joe Root is living up to his potential.
Yeah.
226 in the first test, 186 in this one, run out.
That's a lot of runs.
Little question mark over some of the Sri Lankan play, but at the end of the day, you can only beat who you've got to beat.
They're a far stretch from the team of the 90s, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. But England's won the series over there. Root's, turning up for fun.
Yeah.
And, fair play. So that's big news.
Tell you what, it's certainly shaping up a good Ashes for next year.
It is. And don't forget South Africa, because I know COVID's the curveball, but they don't like us much.
No.
And we're about to go over there. If no crowds are allowed,
right.
Warner and Smith will be very happy.
Yeah.
Especially Warner.
Yes.
Because they don't like us much. Remember that, because that was...
Yes.
You guys know all about that.
Yeah.
Anything else on the cricket, mate, before we go?
No, I think we can move on from the cricket.
Moving on, mate, NFL. So we had the championship games, the NFC championship game, the AFC championship game. The big story. There's a fella.
Mate, the GOAT.
The GOAT. 43.
What can't he do?
Retire.
Yeah.
Look, I watched the game. It was a cracking of a game. So first of all, first half, Brady looked like he was 20. Some deep balls, some great catches. Good team, but the Tampa Bay defense sacked Rodgers a few times.
Yep.
Rodgers doesn't like to get hit. No one does, but Rodgers really doesn't like to get hit.
He is a bit of a sook, yes.
And a couple of plays didn't go their way. And there's two plays. So Packers were behind by 8, which if you know converted a 2-point conversion, one touchdown potentially.
Yeah.
And at the end of the game, Rodgers looked like he could have run straight across, and he threw it. And it was just like watching it on telly, and the commentator said the same. It was just there. There's the line, and he threw it. I think if he had his time again, he could nearly walk over. There was no one around him, so that was a blue.
Yeah.
And then on the next play, which was a 4th down, you've got Aaron Rodgers, one of the great quarterbacks of this era, who's got the best red zone attack in the league, and you have to score, and the coach calls for the field goal. That's confused everybody.
Yeah.
So basically, they went from a situation they would have had to score, they kicked a field goal, and now they had to score.
Yeah, and then that's just like, for me, you know, being someone that's not an avid NFL fan, even I was like, what are you thinking there? Like, is that, you know?
The thinking is that you back your defense to stop Brady, get the ball back, and now a touchdown wins the game. Yeah. But I don't agree with that theory at all.
No,
because you're backing your defense to stop the greatest quarterback of all time, and the guy in the playoffs who's got the best record of all time.
Yeah, yeah. It's like putting your money on a 50-1 shot, isn't it?
Yeah,
you know? Yeah. Why not?
The percentages weren't there.
Why not empower your quarterback and let him do his thing? You know, that's, you know, my 10 cents worth anyway.
Yeah, I think you wouldn't be alone. It's just a couple of plays there that the Packers fans are going to think about for a long time. Rodgers looked just, you know, destroyed it emotionally at the end.
Yeah.
They've got to the playoff game under him, the NFC Championship game, I should say, 5 times now, and they've only won the one. So there's just this feeling that they're underperforming in the big games.
Yeah.
And that monkey on the back seems to get bigger, you know, that way. Whereas Brady just seems to go, I'm going to win. And he actually believes it.
Yeah.
He didn't have a great game. He threw a couple of interceptions. It's not like...
It's almost akin to the Lions in the AFL, isn't it? They're just... They're there, but they're not there, you know?
Oh, they're not there.
No.
Yeah. A lot of people thought Brady shouldn't play this year. He's in the Super Bowl. It's his 10th Super Bowl. Honestly, I'm not a Tampa Bay fan at all, and I really hope they win. I feel like we're watching the GOAT, and but on the other side, there's a Patrick Mahomes, arguably the best player in the league. They beat the Bills. The scoreline flattered the Bills. It was 38-24, but really Kansas smoked them.
Yeah.
And Mahomes is just this young, no fear. Like, he thinks he wants to play Tom Brady. He's like, you know, they're the reigning champions from last year.
Yeah.
He's like, he feels like I'm the next Tom Brady.
Yeah. Look, and you got to love that confidence.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And the bookies have Chiefs as favourites, and I don't think that's wrong, because it's not just the quarterbacks. Obviously, there's a lot of players there. Chiefs offense, when it gets rolling, Hill and Kelsey, the receivers, you know, they're going to have their hands full. But you've got Tom Brady, and I've picked...
I think everyone wants to see the fairy tale.
Everybody wants to see it. I have a feeling that the party might be pooped.
Yeah. Look, but I'm backing the Chiefs for 2 in a row.
But whether Tom Brady wins this one or not, he's just added to his stocks, in my view. Like, if he wins it or loses it, it doesn't matter. Mate, no one thought that even...
I'll tell you what, the Buccaneers have sold a lot more jerseys this year.
They have sold a few, yeah. First playoffs in 18 years.
You know, and look, let's hope the fairy tale comes to fruition. Like...
Yeah, and next week, guys, I've got to have my NFL guy in here, whom we're going to do a really deep dive into the Super Bowl, because it's on Monday, the 8th of February. So next week, expect to hear a lot more about the Super Bowl. Just quickly, football, the world game, the round ball game, the big one, FA Cup has happened. You a football guy?
I am. I do like my football.
Who's your team?
Ashamedly, the Gunners.
Arsenal.
The Gunners and Real
How's
Madrid.
that going for you?
Yeah, not good. Knocked out of the FA Cup this week, unfortunately. For me, but when it comes to English football, anyone but United. Personally.
Really? You know I'm a United supporter.
I do. Yeah. Okay. That's why I threw that in.
Yeah, I didn't know that you had these feelings.
Well, you know, as an Arsenal fan, I'm sure you can appreciate there's been a few years of Sir Alex Ferguson that Arsenal fans would rather forget.
As a United fan, you can probably appreciate that we couldn't give a toss about Arsenal or anyone else.
No, that's true. Yeah, pretty dominant for a long time.
Yeah,
so.
You know, it's like the Liverpool syndrome. You know, they hate us, and we're like, you just one out of another 18.
It's the tall
poppy
syndrome, isn't it?
Yeah. So, anyway, but no, the results in the fourth round were mostly to form. The big one, Man U beat Liverpool 3-2 in a no-love-lost game. Yeah. Liverpool went up 1-0. United actually should have been 4-2. They bombed one at the end, but big win.
Solid.
Liverpool haven't beaten United in the FA Cup at home in 100 years, it was actually 1920.
Yeah, wow.
So, you know, there was a bit of history. And Man U is drawn West Ham in the 5th round. West Ham, not to be taken lightly, actually in the top 4 last I heard.
Yeah.
So pretty good.
Look, yeah, and you know, an old school London club. Yeah. Big supporter base.
Yeah. And they don't like Man U.
No, and Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone likes Man U other than Man U fans, do they?
Oh, look, you know, Burnley fans, maybe, if they get drunk enough. I have to say, this hurts to say, but Man City look really good. When we spoke a few weeks ago, they were about fifth, but Aaron quite rightly pointed out that they had about 4 games in hand. They had a COVID, European games. Having games in hand and counting them as points, there's 2 different things, but they've won every game.
Yeah.
I think they smashed someone this morning. I think it was like 6-0. One of the lower ranked teams. I can't remember who it was. Might have been Wolves or someone, or Sheffield United. But anyway, they look good. They are now 1 point ahead of Man U. Everyone's caught up in games played. Man City look hot, playing Swansea away. I'm sure the Welsh should be waiting for them. But yeah, Everton Tottenham is another big one, 5th round. That could be one there. Chelsea has still gone through. They played Barnsley, good draw.
You've always got to be a little bit concerned when Chelsea are getting through. Like they're always
but Chelsea have just sacked Frank Lampard this week, club legend.
Yeah.
And look, I think they're 1 win. There you go. They're 5 points out of the top 4, and they've got Frank Lampard, and they sacked him just cold.
For performance, or
right. And I don't know if they've appointed a new coach yet. Last I heard, they hadn't. But I mean, Frank Lampard should carry a lot of sway there. I mean, if that was the thinking at Man U, Solskjaer would have been sacked a year ago. So they didn't give Lampard much time. That's Abramovich for you, though.
I mean, that's a cold, calculated Russian mentality, isn't it? Just you will win or you are gone.
They sack coaches for fun, and just different clubs. All right, so we're going to move quickly to tennis now. Last week we were talking about should this be happening and so forth. Last week we had a couple of peripheral people with COVID.
Yep.
A lot of players having a sook.
Yep. Which let's face it, tennis players are quite
good at. Well, as I said last week, it's not known for their
resilience,
for diplomacy. I think some rich celebrities and sports people are finding out that they are actually just regular people when it comes to biosecurity, and it doesn't really matter if you are good at hitting a ball.
Yeah.
But
and look, hopefully they learn a bit about how to conduct themselves as people, not just professional athletes.
Yeah, they're learning. Well, the week started with Novax, as I'm calling him, having a bit of a win. Some of his demands were reasonable, some weren't. But then the Spanish female player, Paula Badoza, has tested positive. And now 10 people in total have tested positive in those people that have come in. And all of a sudden, the people who were whinging about the hard lockdown are going, okay, I feel like the mood has kind of changed a bit. As much as you can expect a bunch of rich sports people's mood to change. I'm not hearing many people complaining, and I think it's in about 3 days the hard lockdown's over and they're going to be let loose.
Yeah, right. So interesting times ahead by the sounds of that.
Yeah, so I think the bad publicity, touch wood, we've kind of weathered that storm. And the Victorians have made up all of these Mickey Mouse competitions, tournaments, I guess, to warm them up, and fair enough. Check this out. We've got the Murray River Open, the Great Ocean Road Open.
Sounds like a bottle of wine or something, doesn't it?
It does. The Gippsland Trophy sounds like a cheese. Hard lockdown matches. They're actually going to have a separate tournament. I'm calling it the COVID Cup. The name to be announced. And it's for people who are still in hard lockdown who can play. Yeah, so I don't know how that works, because surely they could still give it.
Oh, look, this must be an absolute nightmare for the people organising this.
Can't catch it twice? Yeah. I don't know. There's a hard lockdown tournament. Head is blown there. ATP Cup's the one. That's a team event. Well, I think Kyrgios, who's had a lot to say, not like him.
No, it's not like him to be vocal, is it?
He's taken the role of health security officer. Had a bit to say. He's now going to play a team event that goes from February 1 to February 5, and he's going to come up against a few players who he had a bit to say about I think it'll be pretty good theatre.
It could be, yeah.
But having said that, there was some talk that Kyrgios's ranking wasn't high enough to make the Aussie team, and do we even want him? And I don't know if Australia's going to go with him or not.
Which Kyrgios are you going to get? He's when he's on, and when he's not, he's a nightmare.
Because he's the third highest ranked male now, which it's a 2-male thing. So whether he plays, but he had a fair bit to say, and he's not too popular on the tour. Never. I don't know if he ever was.
No.
But anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, for what it's worth, I like the guy.
Really?
Yeah. Not so much for his antics, but look, when he plays well, he plays well. And there's been a few little glimmers where he's shown a little bit of that sort of ability to relate to the Aussie. You know, like he's chimed in a few times when, you know, and called people like Novak and co for some of their bratish behaviour, which
but he's a brat too.
Yeah, so it's kind of like it's a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Yeah. Look,
pop calling the kettle
he's a good
black.
player. You know, hitting a tennis ball isn't the problem. It's everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan, but I have to say he's been pretty interesting with the COVID stuff. He's called out a few people, and so.
Yeah, I mean, you know, love him or hate him, he speaks his mind, and
you
know, a lot of people don't do that nowadays. So you got to give him that.
Now, we're going to quickly change to a bit of boxing, but before we do, we're going to have a quick chat about UFC. Now, heads up everyone, I am not a UFC fan. So if you're watching this show and you're hoping, hey, is he going to talk about UFC? As a rule, I'm generally not. I'm not knocking it. I'm not saying there aren't tough, you know, great athletes doing it. It's just not something that I personally look for.
Yeah, looking for me, it's a little bit of WWE. Except they actually do hit each other.
Oh, they hit each other, no doubt about that. But there's a fellow, Conor McGregor.
Oh,
you got a bit to say there.
How good was that?
All I'll say, I'm going to let you off the leash, but in my view, if his hands moved as fast as his mouth, he'd be right.
Oh, look, I've been saying from day dot, Conor McGregor has got far more potential to sell a fight than he does to fight himself.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
He is, in my opinion, a pretty average mixed martial artist. His ground game's not great.
Yeah.
We saw that with Nate Diaz. As soon as it went to the ground, he was choked out in, less than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
He's got a good left hand. He's got some good boxing. You can't deny that. His footwork's good, and he's got a good, solid left hand that a lot of people don't see coming. But when he's fighting guys in a weight division that are comparable to him, he's terrible, in my opinion. He's very pedestrian.
From the outside view, he looks like a fighter that there'd be 50 people that could kill him, but they can't command the attention and the pay-per-view that he can.
Oh, 100%. He sells the fight. He's modelled his career looking at Floyd Mayweather. Yeah. And he even fought him, to his credit.
If you call out a fight. Yeah,
yeah exactly. A staged theatric pretend fight.
Yeah.
But, I think now that he
got smashed the other day, didn't he?
He did. He was absolutely belted. And look, Dustin Poirier, I don't think he's an amazing fighter either, but he picked him apart.
Do McGregor's fans care that he lost? He's lost a few times. He's lost quite a few times.
Yeah.
If he comes back in 3 or 4 months and says all the right things, do they just go back to the next pay-per-view?
Well, I think he's at a stage in his career now where he just has to keep taking fights for paydays.
Yeah.
Because that's all he's going to get. He's not good enough to mix it with the big boys.
Right.
He can't cut the weight to get down to featherweight anymore. Yeah, okay. And look, let's face it, that's where he was a monster. Featherweight, when he was beating up little guys like Jose Aldo, he was a weapon.
Yeah.
But as soon as he stepped up to lightweight,
the punches get a bit harder.
That's it, and he's not quite there. He's not a world beater at that weight.
He's made a lot of money, but not necessarily.
I think his role from now on in is just going to be to he's still going to have that casual fan base that are going to they're going to love him no matter what. But I think his future now is going to be sort of filling cards as a bit of a draw. Yeah. To kind of help.
Oh, he's a draw. You can't deny that.
Yeah, but he will still generate a lot of money, and people will still pay to see him because
not me. He got my $50 with that Mayweather thing, and that's all he did. That was it. Fool me once. So a bit of boxing, mate. There's the fight of the Caleb's coming up this weekend. Yeah. We got Plant and I was going to say Tro, but it's apparently Truax. Yeah. Now Plant here with a 20-0 record. This is the IBF Super Middleweight Championship.
Yeah.
Truax here. This one's happening from the States. Not a huge fight, But at the same time, 2 Americans in America,
Yeah.
you seem to feel like this fight's a platform for bigger things.
Yeah. See, I think this is a good showcase for Caleb Plant. Look, he's 20-0. People are talking him up.
Has he fought anyone in those 20?
No, look, that's the issue.
Yeah.
He's got no one of real note on his record, in my opinion, anyways.
Sure. Yeah.
But look, people are talking up. He's got a belt, so people are talking up future Canelo bout. And,
Right.
you know, he's 20-0. People think he's pretty good. People
Canelo
think
wouldn't take him at the moment. He'd want to...
I think he needs to increase his worth for Canelo to bother with him. You know, I think... And also, from what people are saying, he's got a decent punch on him. So Canelo's probably not going to take that straight away when he's got a feather-fisted Billy Joe Saunders in the same weight division.
Yeah.
He can easily take a belt off.
And worth
in the
more
meantime.
money as well.
That's right. And is a bigger draw because Billy Joe Saunders, he's got a lot of people that dislike him, you know.
Yeah.
And people will pay to see him get knocked out.
Yeah.
And he's actually, love or hate him, Billy Joe Saunders is a quite a good evasive defensive fighter, but he's just got absolute feather fists.
The punching power.
So I think
feather fists.
that will be Canelo's sort of main target next. But people are
Maybe
talking about
Plant
Caleb Plant
down the
potentially down the line.
So you've obviously got Plant winning this fight.
Yeah, I think this is a fight that's definitely like Truax. He's got a good record, 31-4, 2 losses. He beat James DeGale for a WBA belt, but then lost it again in a subsequent rematch. He's got a few good names on his record, but every time he's gone to that elite level, he's been beaten.
Okay.
He's a bit of a journeyman, and I think this is a good fight to make Plant look good, look strong, maybe get a KO, maybe set up that future fight with Canelo.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's on Sunday morning Australian time. I think it's on Fox Sports, but check that one. But Sunday morning, Sunday day. Quickly, running out of time, mate. Justice Hooney.
Yeah, look,
getting a bit of buzz about him.
Yeah.
Brisbane-based heavyweight.
No, he's Sydney-based.
Sorry,
but he's had a couple of fights in Brisbane.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Promoted on cards out of the Fortitude Music Hall.
Okay.
But he's based in Sydney.
You rate him?
Look, he's a good amateur. He's a good pro, but I think he's a little bit too small as a heavyweight to really compete with the big boys. You know, he's not on that. He's not on that elite level.
How old would he be if you had this? Like, do you know?
Oh, look, he's in his
gonna
early
fill
20s.
out?
Yeah, look, potentially, but I still think he'll just be that little bit small. But they're looking at taking him over to the Olympics in Tokyo.
Okay.
Hopefully get a medal, and then if he gets a medal, that'll increase his worth when they do take him overseas. But he's got a very good management team behind him, and they're being quite clever in the way that they're keeping him active, and they're trying to create a lot of buzz around him, which is what you need. You know, because if you're going to go overseas, you want that big payday. You want people to pay to see you.
Well, I'd heard about him and I was thinking, okay, we might have a good fighter here. And then I turn on this here and I see he's on the card for the rugby league rival boxing card in Townsville. Papali versus some forklift driver. Junior Paulo versus Costigan. Sam Thaiday against Willie Mason. Justin Hodges against Shandor Earl. Scott Prince against Todd Carney in a bubble fest, Matty Bowen and Craig Gower, and Justice Hooney against To Be Announced. Now, To Be Announced, it's in 2 weeks. They don't know who he's fighting. Why do these legitimate boxers have to go and fight rugby league players or go onto the card? What's going on?
That's a sad state of affair of Australian boxing. People would rather pay to see 2 hack football players pretend to box than legitimate professional boxers.
Winner fights Quade Cooper in a cage.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
shoot me now.
Yeah.
So
people pay to see like Paul Gallen. Hooney called him out after his last
Barry Hall.
Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs, mate.
It's like Horn, whether you like Horn or not. You know, he beat Pacquiao and all that, and then he went and fought Mundine. I'm like, no.
Yeah, that was the worst thing you could have done.
You fought Terence Crawford.
Yeah,
and then Mundine.
And look, he still had a chance at fighting anyone in the top 5, and he let it go to cash in.
And that's it.
And that's the trouble. It's about the cash at the end of the day, isn't it?
I want to keep going, but we're about to run out of time. I'm going to have to get you back. Yeah. I want to talk. There's some big fights in 2021. I want to ask you about a few of them.
Yeah.
I want to know if we're going to see Tyson and Anthony Joshua and
well, they've apparently signed some sort of. But boxing. There's a lot of to and froing when it comes to contracts, unfortunately, and
we've got to find out. But
yeah,
I'm afraid we're going to have to cut it short. Thanks for coming on, though.
No,
and we're going to get you back.
It's been good.
Some big fights coming up.
Yeah.
And everyone, I hope you enjoy the week. And that's episode 4 done and dusted. And we'll catch you next week. Thanks a lot.